if I call it abusing. Hey, look at
We
this.
see it.
I was gonna say, let's look at these. We got some perks here. We got furtive chase. We've got. I'm sorry, Skull Merchant. You said it earlier, and I always forget the name of that perk. I apologize. And yeah, a little bit of slowdown, a little bit of chase. I like it a lot. A little bit of stealth, and we're gonna very quickly. Sorry, I'm talking about perks, and we're obviously right on jaw here. Right on the heels of our Lara. We're going to stock. We're going to get a little bit of a stock progress here, getting pretty close to tier 3. Again, you just mentioned it. We just passed by a place that there should have been a pallet in by those barrels. No pallet existed. I don't know if we kind of lost jaw there or we're actually trying to bounce around. I think we're very close to full stock, but not quite. So we are able to keep that stalker mode and keep in stealth.
Yeah, the node chat has probably already been screaming at us, but of course the perk is called Game Afoot. I hope that I described it properly though. If you're chasing the obsession and you break a pallet, you're gonna get 7% haste on a normal break. And it also, as Pedro finds power and finds Momo, he still has a decent pallet to play. But this is the thing about Hawkins run. Once the pallet comes down, you're just dead because you're playing 50s and we're seeing just that Momo can't vault back. And this is going to be the first down of the trial. Unfortunately, in our spectator client, we cannot see who is the obsession right now. But if we switch back to the killer POV, we will see if Pedro has haste and undetectability available right now. First stack of Grim Embrace, first stack of Pain Resonance. But again, if you're going for fresh hooks, if you want the max value out of this Obsession Roulette build, you have to go for fresh hooks, right? And we all know that the fastest way to stop survivors from doing generators is player removal, turn it into a 3v1. Wispy found on another pallet, and we did in fact get furtive chase value. That is why Pedro was undetectable here. Gets another down. Momo has not even been unhooked yet.
This is getting scary. Again, same thing we saw last game where we had an explosive start, a lot of hooks coming in before the generators are completed. That's going to be our second Pain Res, our second stack of Grim Embrace. Even able, that was fantastic. Close, the generator was close enough to the hook that we were able to kick it before walking far enough away from the hook to proc Grim Embrace. Now you can see they are blocked for a little short time. Again, it will be a 40-second block once we get our 4th fresh hook. But, I mean, you're not wrong. We don't want to be seeing too many fresh hooks. Listen, guys, don't make me do this because I'm going to start harping on people to tunnel, and I'm going to be mean about, why aren't you tunneling? And the people I'm complaining about are in the building with me. It's a little different this time. I love you guys. All right, we're going to continue chase on our 3rd fresh survivor. I mean, maybe this pays off for Pedro. Maybe we do. Again, Pedro's hilarious because Pedro makes decisions to not tunnel sometimes, and I harp on him, and then often it works out. So I you know, like, I'm like, what are you doing? And then at the end, I'm like, that's what he was doing. So hopefully it was working out. We did get a little bit of stock there on job, but we're coming back to where our injured survivors are. Our V, our Momo here, Momo on V here. We're just gonna get a quick M1, and that's gonna be another down.
07, our Momo, down he goes again, second hook stage, but of course he's not the obsession right now. And I want to point out that Pedro's playstyle on the shape is completely different from how he usually plays. He's fully prioritizing stock, he's not playing for M1 at all, which in my opinion is one of his biggest strengths. And he's doing so fantastically with it. He's getting multiple downs per tier 3, and if that is happening on Myers, you know you're cooking. Another death on an active generator, and Wispy still injured. We have Haunt and Jaw working away at the generators, but this hook on the progress generator is just more slowdown. You don't even need Eruption if you can just, you know, cheekily camp this guy who's hooked on the proc, right? One more gen pops in the distance. We saw scratch marks. We know where Wispy is. And Pedro knows he has time right now. He can just find another stock target. He has the tier 3 ready to go. So at best, this can be a trade. And Team USA need to make something happen if they don't want to go into the 3v1.
It's getting very dangerous. And with a perk like Grim Embrace, the 3v1 will be very... You're going to have a situation where, like, if the survivors get very close to popping a generator and you are able to down your last fresh hook and get a hook, you can stop them in a way that you can't stop. You know, in a way that, like, oh, if the pain res is gone or whatever, you can't find a can't find a pain res hook or whatever. Grim Embrace will give him 40 seconds and eyes on the obsession. They decide to Team USA decides to opt for gen progress as opposed to as opposed to saving Momo. Momo dies on second hook in exchange for a generator. Haunt goes down here in that small catwalk room, and we're going to get another fresh hook, another pain res. We got about 50% on that generator. It's going to go down about 20% there. And these survivors are in a rough spot. They're in a better spot somewhat than we saw last game where Pedro was dead at 3 gens, but Wispy's injured. If Jaw gets found and hooked, the generators are not touchable for 40 seconds. And it's going to be, and yeah, here we go, it's Jaw.
Yep, Haunt was also the obsession, so we're getting full furtive chase value here, undetectability and 10% haste. Very good pre-drop coming through by Jaw, but we saw this room earlier, it only has 1 pallet, and that makes it so much less safe. What can Alara do? This pallet has been played already, and we're playing 50s again. Jaw usually very good at that, just sending it away from the pallet. Tier 3 runs out, no stun here, forcing the break by Pedro. But Pedro seems to be not in a mood to commit this at all, wants to interrupt the gen, because you don't have Eruption. You need your downs, you need to keep snowballing with this build, and he finds Wispy. Wispy has 2 pallets dropped, decides to just leave again. Does he have more in this room? Another pallet. This one is not super unsafe. Wispy taking his time, not dropping it. Pedro swinging through it, but with Bloodlust, this should be the down onto our Steve. Another pickup, but this does not represent any regression. We used the Pain Res, we used the Grim Embrace, we really need Jaw. We do get another hook on the Obsession, which is very good for furtive chase, but Pedro needs to down Jaw.
We have found not Jaw, but Haunt again injured. It's interesting, you mentioned earlier, Emmy, how Pedro is playing for stock and not M1s. Well, we just saw we got some injured survivors. We've got some injured survivors, and an M1 is all we need. We are going to pop that generator. Jaw shows where their position is to pop the generator and secure at least a tie. I do agree with that, but that may have been putting all of our eggs in one basket, and we may end up having no more progress after this. Jaw has not been spotted yet, but Jaw needs to get the team off the ground, off the hook, and back in the game if we want to see anything happen. No eyes. We do have Terror Radius. We're going to get the unhook. We're going to get a swing on Jaw. And again, like you say, like we have someone on the ground. We're going to get the pickup here. If we choose to target Jaw, we have 40 full seconds. Yeah. If we take this hook, we have 40 seconds to chase the rest. We're not going to take it immediately. We are going to go down. We're going to chase after Haunt. Wispy managed to make it away, might be working on a generator, and yeah, okay, we're going to drop it, and we're going to get our we're going to get our 4th stack of Grim Embrace, our full, oh, we got a little bit of boil over action going on here. Okay, unfortunately, there's a hook right here, but we're going for the Pain Res.
Yeah, Pedro should make this any day of the week. Pedro was playing for the win condition there, but can still get the tie quite handily, in my opinion. Everybody is injured. We do get 1 more stack of furtive chase, so right now we have no idea where Scary Myers is patrolling the map, and Pedro is looking for his next target. 4th stack of Grim Embrace, so he does not have to worry about another generator popping, and he can take his time to find Wispy, who is in a super unsafe room. Pedro swings, Wispy does not drop, he does not drop again, and he goes down and gets eliminated.
Good try by Wispy. These upstairs rooms, they have pallets, they have windows, but they're really weak. There's not a whole lot you can do in there. Wispy is going to be hooked for the 3rd time. We're going to see the exit of Wispy from this trial. You can see we've got Haunt trying to wait out. We're almost done with that. I think it just ended. The Grim Embrace ended, so that blocked generator should pop up, and we should be able to get some progress. Haunt at about 60%. Now, we're not going to get the generator done right now, but Jaw on a different generator as well. This isn't over. It's a 2v1, but it is not over, and we've got a good gen split. And not only that, Haunt is going to be able to say, he's on me, stick the gen. Unfortunately, we left a little late, got the stagger, and it wasn't enough. Jaw's going to have to get out this generator, so it's not over, but it's almost over, you know?
It should be over. I was also surprised with just how much gen progress our USA survivors have. They are fighting, they're trying to stay strong, but Jaw goes down as well. And we're confirming the tie, which makes me a liar. No 2-0 for Invictus, and we're going to see the tiebreaker, which makes me very, very happy. But yeah, Invictus tying the pick of Team USA here. And I don't know. I think both teams can be very happy with their performance, even though it's a bit of a cop-out answer, right? I think it was super important that Ja did not go down when Pedro had the opportunity to commit him, because if you get the 4th Grim and the 4th Pain was there, then you can get the into in the win condition. So overall, super solid play from both sides. And again, I find it so interesting to see how Pedro is already adapting to the LAN environment, but is playing for M2 so much more than M1, because you have such a large sample size. And if you got this Survivor squad, you can just be like, okay, we make it 6-4 instead.
That is absolutely... So again, we were talking about it. We are on Wispy here for Team USA. We're going to need 8 hooks. Not 7. Not 7 anyway. 7-4 would be a tie at best. If you get 7-3, you will lose. We need 8 hooks. We're going to start our chase on Pedro. Pedro, the first chase again. We saw Pedro tunnel out earlier on the Myers set, and we played that sort of L-shaped filler palette, and I guess we don't want Pedro. We're going to go check out main building. Hatch. Shack, sorry. Good grief. We're at Shack. Shack is an interesting generator on this map, by the way. If that first... we saw last time, Shack got... the gens got doubled and whatnot. If the Survivor chase, the first chase lasts long enough and you can get Shack out of the way, you take away so many 3-gen opportunities. So it's the most important, and it seems like Wispy is aware and doesn't want to give that up right now.
Yeah, it's usually the strategy. You either stack it at the very start of the game, get it out of the way, or you just ignore it completely, take your first chase there, use the safety of the pallet. And Nightlight dodging a beautiful shot there, has another super safe pallet to play, gets the stun here, not taking any risks, and Wispy is forced to break. Now Wispy has been able to interrupt a couple of survivors during this early game. He's gonna return to the Shack, apply his eruption, but he's still missing that first injury. And we see on the HUD, Invictus are splitting pressure. And if this continues for Team Invictus, of course, it's gonna look very, very good. Eruption on 2 generators, but you need to get that down before they can pop. Dan also located on the Shack. Nice dodge, nice attempt by Wispy, but Dan on top right now. Is this the chase we're going to commit? Dan dodges another UVX. Beautiful movement there. Pallet on the 4-lane drop. Wispy breaking again. And this is already taking so long. The infection does come through. First generator pops, and Dan can just go wherever he wants right now. He has the whole map still available. Very few resources have been dropped. Can we avoid the tag here? Oh. Barely avoiding the injury with the UVX as well. Has another jungle gym to play. This is a nightmare for Wispy, who gets a very nice infection there.
Wispy is in trouble here. The most we've had 3 infections, 3 weakened, no damage, no injuries, another missed UVX there. We're out of line of sight, so Dan won't be able to break out weakened just yet. Starting to get a little bit off there. Second generator pops. We're going for some interesting creative bounces off of those trees. Still not hitting. Dan is now breaking out of the weakened state. We will probably see an M1 here if we miss this. Yeah, we missed that again. We'll see an M1, but Dan's going to break out again. So we're M1 killer until we can hit 2 UVXs in a row, and we have not done it yet. That UVX hits. Wispy had a few early game UVXs that were short, a little bit just off target, and it's really come back to hurt him now. We get a pallet assist here. Pedro dropping the pallet as the 3rd generator pops in the distance. This game is ending very quickly, Emmy.
Yup, the generators are being
not
aroused.
Pedro again!
Pedro being an absolute nuisance on his home turf, Wrecker's Yard, saying, come on, chase me. I'm the #1 ladder player. I'm not gonna skip these tiles. I'm gonna make you break every single pallet. Wispy has to leave again, needs to find Dan again, finds him at the bus, but of course, all generators here are gone. Dan dodges again, and this is something that some of the, not unknown mains, the players that don't usually play these killers for their teams, a trap that they can fall into. Take your M1s, right? We saw Nightlight do it. He took the M1s when he had to, and now Wispy is still struggling. You're making it a little bit too cute. You have the injured Nightlight. If you can't get the UVX, just play for the M1 instead. And again, another beautiful dodge and a hit tank coming through. We don't have a stage on the board yet.
This is crazy. The survivors of Invictus are doing incredible. Not only are they dodging multiple UVXs, like they'll get hit one, dodge the next, and it's gone. Hit one, dodge the next, and it's gone. On top of that, great teamwork play. We've seen Rocket and we've seen Nightlight tank a hit to keep Dan alive. The last generator is about to pop with no hook stages. We also saw Pedro being a menace and not even able to get the UVX off there. That would have been our first and only down on Rocket. Rocket gets the pallet stun in the school bus and makes distance and breaks out of a weekend. We are now playing this incredibly strong rock tile. Swing through and Rocket is already gone. Rocket boots enabled. We are running away from that loop. And I went for, oh, actually, that was one of those interesting bounces where it went up, swings through the pallet, and still misses. Are we, I mean, the survivors don't even need, you can ego at this point, Emmy. You can ego and try and save Rocket, which they might do, but at the end of the day, they could literally just leave and the game is over. Our first down with the gates open.
That was absolutely amazing. If you're an Invictus fan, make some noise for your team. What a dominant survivor performance. Only one stage, 3 stages total for Wispy, and they crushed their pick in the unknown. What a way to lead us into the tiebreaker. Wait, we're still playing out the tiebreaker now,
yes,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a tie first, and now a win, and now
against USA. He's going to be on the FREDDY later, but for now it is Wispy. And what surprised me the most is that we've seen Wispy play 50 picks of FREDDY already. It felt like the rework was just yesterday, and now look at us, all old. We're doing some renovations on the Dead Dog Saloon, and we're seeing a Sloppy Butcher, Eruption, Corrupt Intervention, and Pain Resonance. Opting to go for Corrupt Intervention instead of bringing potentially another slowdown perk. Both Pop and Call of Crime have been very, very popular on FREDDY, but yeah, Wispy is just scratching down the doors on this very survivor-sided map when the doors are available, right? You want to break the main building, you want to break the shack, you want to make all these loops a little bit more playable for yourself, and then you can start wrestling for the upper hand. We see Pedro about to fall asleep, so this could be a great chase for Wispy. Pallet comes down, Wispy breaks it, Pedro takes his distance.
We're going to be chasing back behind the buildings here in Dead Dog Saloon. We do get hit with that snare just a little bit. Will we make this window? I think, yeah, I was going to say, I think that's still going to be a medium vault, but we do the double vault and you get away with it. Again, we get a double back by, okay, Wispy does swing through and gets that hit. I was going to say the double back might be enough, not quite enough. Sloppy Butcher applied. Sloppy Butcher not going to be too important in this chase, on that hit, but anyone coming to tank a hit will be harder to reset. Shack Pallet has been removed from the trial, and we decide to just leave that injury and come up and chase them off, balance landing, chase Nightlight off of the Gallows generator. Probably trying to keep, oh, good try there on a little bit, looked like we were going around on the swing. Trying to keep them off the generators. I mean, I feel like this is how we started last game, though, where we were kind of bouncing back and forth, and it wound up not paying off. Nightlight taking the M1 and going upstairs in main, and it looks like we're just going to leave again. Trying to put some damage around the map. Sloppy Butcher will be helping with that. Sloppy Butcher will matter. I said it didn't matter versus Pedro. That's only if we commit to Pedro. But if we start, you know, hit and running, if we start hit and running, then the Sloppy Butcher will come into effect, keeping everybody injured. We do swing a little bit ambitious swing there. We don't get the swing around, and we are going to take an M1 here on Rocket, and Rocket's going to go to main building.
And this is the problem. If you don't spawn in the main building as the killer, you did not break these doors because you've never been here. So your chases are gonna take an additional time. Wispy drops every single chase that goes main building. And I like it. You're playing the long run. You're playing to deplete the map from resources. Dan holding this distance holder rock very well. Unfortunately not able to dodge the Dream Snare and gets tagged here back to where Pedro's chase was taking place earlier. We know that Wispy broke a lot of doors here. No pallet available. Another Dream pallet coming through, and Dan goes down to the detonation. This is going to be a hook inside the active generators. Meanwhile, all of our Invictus survivors are busy resetting, so no more progress on the map being achieved.
Like you mentioned previously, we've been doing a lot of resetting as Team Invictus, and we see that again, even through the Sloppy Butcher, we managed to get everybody healed up, back, and ready to go. We'll apply Eruption to that street generator, teleport up to the Gallows, give a little kick on that one too. We did end up using Dan's Pain Res, so that is one Pain Res off the board. We have some scratch marks here at Shack. We're going to see who is looking over here. We do have a very, very tight... Whenever we're on Dead Dog Saloon, you got to look at the gens, particularly back by Gallows in that desert area. We do have a very tight 3-gen over there, and that is something probably why earlier when we got that hit on Pedro and we dropped it, we wanted to chase them off of Gallows. We do get the unhook on Dan, and we hit with the snare, got a little bit closer to falling asleep. We're going to vault through the window, get the live, go upstairs, hit the fastball. Great fastball there. Again, like you said, Emmy, didn't have a chance until now to kick out that door. That would have been a down, probably a second down here, but unfortunately, we had not had a chance to break the door out. And now we're going to see Dan running back upstairs. It looks like we get hit with a snare. That
I think this is head-on.
might be enough. We're baiting the head-on. Are they in there?
Oh, great patience there. We did see a second
It
survivor,
did
and the
come
stun
in.
just wore off. What a great altruistic play there. Wispy knew it, but Pedro just so patient on pulling the trigger, buying so much time by doing nothing, being in a locker. So extending the chase. Yes, this main generator has progress, but we just broke the 3-gen, and INVICTUS are doing great. Dan makes another vault, but Pedro caught out right now, woke himself up and does not make it back to the pallet. Goes down, second fresh hook for Wispy.
Yeah, that was so important. We were able to break the 3 generator. We were able to get that head on. Again, that took so long. I almost was not believing it was coming in. I thought maybe we were baiting an empty locker, and no, we were baiting, and it did come off. We're gonna get the quick unhook here on Pedro by Rocket, body blocking, using that endurance to stop an M1 on Pedro. And we're going to go, hey, you want to get involved? I'll get a swing. Just kidding. Rocket gets a little overzealous there and runs by the active killer. Takes an M1. Rocket will have Sloppy Butcher applied. So it will be a little bit harder to reset. We're doing a little bit more renovations here of the main building, and we're a little bit, seems Wispy might be a little bit unsure which chase we want to take because we didn't take any of the chases. We're coming back over here trying to see maybe find a reset, see if we can maybe find a survivor working, maybe this generator here. I didn't hear any progress there. There is some scratch marks here, maybe a little bit of progress there. And we are at this water tower. This is Nightlight? Was that Nightlight?
It's
Dan,
who just fell asleep, so FREDDY does have a power now. Unfortunately, Dan immediately loses the vault. Very well played by Wispy, winning the 50. And another hook on to Dan, who goes to second stage now, which means Wispy is going to do everything to tunnel out this ace as soon as possible. TPs to the main generator, which has a lot of progress, about 80% here, but the resets have slowed down. Only Nightlight is healthy right now and potentially able to play altruistically. We see Rocket rotating for the pull early. That is out of range to interrupt the pull, but now Rocket, of course, can't tank for his teammate, and Dan is going to be stuck here. Shack has already been dropped. So much of this game has been taking place on this pallet, and if you vault, you die because the killer can just swing over it or grab you out of endurance. He's just stuck. He's just dead. Nobody here for the flashlight either, so Dan gets himself stuck between a rock and a hard place, and unfortunately leaves the trial with one more generator remaining. How much progress do we have on the map? I don't think there is a lot. Gallows are roughly 40%, and 2 survivors are still injured. And once you fall behind against FREDDY, that is where the survivor side really starts to struggle.
That was just such a rough position to be in when Dan got to that pallet. If you wait too long, endurance wears out. If you don't wait too, if you vault the pallet, you get grabbed, and that's what we saw. Dan knew he'd made a bit of an error there, getting trapped. We did have some scratch marks here at main building, but we didn't quite track down the survivor that they belonged to. We're going to drop over, and we see the healthy, I believe, the healthy Nightlight here working on the Gallows. Nightlight, I believe, with the balance landing from before. Looking around. Did he drop? He did drop, made it all the way to main building. Such an impossible. Gallows is such a rough generator to work on if you are not the balance landing survivor. If you are, it is pretty much freebie. The killer is never going to catch you before you get to that really strong main building. Following scratch marks now, coming over to that street generator, and look at this. We found the reset. We found the reset. Rocket has been reset already, but Pedro has not. We do opt to chase Rocket here on this back of main pallet. We are asleep, so our snares are going to work. Miss that snare. We'll come back to this of the back pallets in this sort of desert area. This is the worst one. This is the one with the shortest sides. Very easy for the killer to back and forth until they get a hit. And we're going to get that hit on Rocket. Does get that snare as we go up the stairs. We are starting to teleport across and we're gonna go ping pong around. We get a hit on Rocket and we're gonna leave. Stop them from getting this generator done. We find the injured Pedro. Pedro with not a whole lot to work with here. It looks like Pedro is going to go down. Now I will say we do have one hook on Pedro, but I believe Pedro's pain res is still available as we still have 3 left.
Well, very interesting here. Nightlight not working the gallows, instead working this generator with the highest progress. Great call by Wispy to teleport away and interrupt the gen before its completion, because he may have expected Nightlight to just commit the gallows, because he is that balanced landing survivor who has so much power and agency on this set, right? You just park the balanced landing survivor on that gallows gen. Meanwhile, your 2 other survivors continuously just play for resets, pick up onto Pedro. Rocket was nearby to potentially pick up his survivor friend as soon as Wispy commits the chase. Do we still have a pain res available? Yes, we do. Nightlight decides to use Repressed Alliance to block the generator so it does not regress. And Wispy needs to find Rocket here. Rocket is playing for the pull, and if he gets caught, that might be the end for the survivor side. But if we can stealth it, if we can get some more progress on these very split generators, we might be in a good spot. Nightlight on the gallows yet again. Balanced landing available as always. You just send it to main and you have to drop the chase. It's so frustrating for the killer, but Wispy has been showing us great patience here. Leaves at the perfect timing, finds Rocket, and Rocket is going to be another pain res. And if Pedro overplays for the altruism here, he's just dead. So can't really greet either.
You can break collision here a little bit, and yeah, okay, so Pedro runs away now that the borrow time is going to go off. And just kidding, Pedro was coming back to potentially get a pallet stun, but in the end, Nightlight does finish the last generator across the map. Fantastic play by Nightlight to use that Repressed Alliance and prevent the pain res regression. That generator is upwards of 80–90% when we blocked it off, and as a result, the pain res did not matter. It hit one of the generators that had far less progress. Sorry, we do get a fresh hook on Rocket, so that's going to be 3 fresh hooks. Rocket gets unhooked. We have some room to make some stuff work here in endgame. Rocket's injured, Pedro's injured. Nightlight is fresh hook would be the best one, but being not injured, it could be a little difficult to track them down. You're probably going to see Pedro being the one challenging the gate, at least one of the gates, so that way if they get found, they're not worth nearly as much. Nightlight probably opened the door behind main though, and that's going to be the end of that. We are chasing Rocket. Rocket, of the injured survivors, is worth the most progress, and we're going to pull. And I think that's probably going to be all we see for this match.
That shows you everything you need to know about the set, right? You see fresh hook survivor opening the exit gate. That's going to be my target for the end game. Never mind, it's the guy with balanced and he's on main building. I can never do anything here. So Wispy takes his 2 stages on to Rocket and gets a total of 9 stages for Fresh. That is a very good result, but below his average, right?
I think it was 8 actually. It was 2. Pedro got out with 1.
8 stages for Fresh.
I do that all the time. You're fine. You know, I do that all the time.
I can't count.
Well, you're looking at the two like the